Recently, we had a gold rotation on Sakai Station, meaning that you could only get the Grizzco Weapons. These rare and unique weapons are very powerful, but while playing, I often saw the same mistakes, and in general, people struggling with them. It's true, these weapons can be quite hard to use for players who don't have much experience with them. So in today's video, I will try something a bit different. I have a couple ways I want to show you and talk about so I can explain my thought process and why I played in certain ways, and I'll also share some advice for the next time we have a gold rotation. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so here we have a Twin Lance game with one friend and two random people. This will be a low tide fog wave with the Grizzco Brella, which is a more supportive weapon. It has really good paint but pretty mediocre damage, so I will play a more supportive role for my team overall. It's so easy to get overwhelmed on fog waves, so I like to lure a little bit further than I usually would to ensure that we stay in control. You can see that flipper flopper rings are very easy for me to paint thanks to the amazing ink efficiency and paint of the Grizzco Brella. Here I make a big mistake. I attacked the Goldie too early and it ended up getting killed too far from the basket, and you'll see that the eggs will stay stuck there the whole wave. I would have preferred it to be killed closer to the basket so we could really collect all those eggs, especially considering it had 10 eggs. Now here I noticed that the stingers are bothering me and my team, so I got to kill them because shore bosses should be dealt with. They are very dangerous and the cause of most crit wipes, especially on fog waves, so it's better to just go kill them. Except here, I opt to actually not kill the flyfish because of the amount of time left. I wanted to prioritize getting eggs and deemed it not dangerous enough to kill because we were in control of the map and I trusted my teammates to not get killed by it. Now notice all those eggs stuck at that left path. They're from that Goldie from earlier, and that's why I wanted it to get killed closer to the basket because now they're stuck and there's not enough time left to get them all in. Despite that, we still got 50 eggs, which is pretty good. In general, fog is my favorite type of wave because of how many eggs can be obtained. What I usually do is that I try to lure normal bosses a bit further than usual, but Goldies I try to get them as close to the basket as possible so we can collect every single one of their eggs. Then we have a regular normal tide with the Grizzco Stringer. It can deal a lot of damage and one-shot every boss, but you should be careful because it's fairly slow and very ink-hungry. Here you can see that I stay right next to the basket to lure that salmon lid and that steelhead. Luring is still very important, and I noticed that many people go to the shore directly whenever there's a random rotation because they're excited to have the cool weapons. I get it, I myself love playing around with the Grizzco Weapons, but it's really important to not forget your fundamentals. And in the same vein, I noticed that a lot of people forget their specials. It leads to really dumb and really avoidable losses. Here you can see something very cool with the Stringer, and it's that the shots aren't symmetrical. Here you can see the 3 shots on the right, and combined they can deal enough damage to one-shot a steelhead. And as I mentioned earlier, you can see that the Stringer can one-shot every boss. I'd say the only downside of that is that it takes a bit of time to get a fully charged shot. Here I go for the Stinger because the vertical shots are amazing against them. And with the flyfish on the map, I thought that it would be better to just kill it now because it can be very dangerous. I only take 1 egg from the Stinger because it's not worth it to get all 3, because you'd have to throw them to the basket, which takes a lot of time when you could just kill more bosses near the basket and get more eggs in. With the Grizzco Stringer, I typically use horizontal shots for paint or to kill lesser salmonids if there's a lot of them, but vertical is much better for bosses, especially if you're close to them where you can do that full 1300 damage. Now I quickly want to show off a cool trick that maybe not everyone knows about. This is a normal tide Mudmouths wave with the Grizzco Sloher. The Sloher has piercing properties, so you can shoot through armored enemies like Scrapper, Flyfish, Steelhead, and more. But it can also shoot through Mudmouths and kill them much faster than if you only had a bomb. You'll see that I don't pick up or throw many eggs because I'm focusing on killing Mudmouths, and that already uses 75% of the ink tank. For this, I had to rely on my teammates a lot to help out with any lesser salmonids because the Grizzco Sloher is very slow, maybe even the slowest Grizzco weapon. It has very bad ink efficiency, which makes it hard to get out of bad situations. Even if 65 eggs is already really good, I know that we could have optimized that wave more to get a lot more. When you get the Grizzco Sloher or Splatoon, make sure to really take advantage of that piercing ability. And finally, I want to show a king salmonid encounter. Here I got really lucky and got the Grizzco Charger with Horrorboros. This is probably the best weapon to have against him because you can hit his weak points so easily. Even if you know that it's gonna be a easy king salmonid kill, it can be really easy to forget your surroundings when fighting Horrorboros since he's so high up in the sky. So try to still be a bit aware about the bosses spawning along with him or you're gonna get eaten by a moss. Also, try to focus a bit on ink efficiency. Here you can see that I was out of ink for way too long. Thankfully, my teammate helped me out and I survived, but I should have died. Mistakes like this are often lethal, especially with the Grizzco weapons where it's so hard to get that ink back, so really be careful with ink management. But overall, killing king salmonids is really easy during gold rotations. If you ever want to grind skills, that's definitely when you should be doing it. You can get those fast kills and you will obtain a ton of skills. To summarize what I said in this video, it's important to remember your fundamentals and to lure during gold rotations, even with these awesome weapons in hand. Having 20 eggs stuck at the shore or having to take the time to throw them all to the basket is a lot of work and will make it way harder to reach the quota. Another thing is ink management. Most Grizzco weapons are very ink hungry and it's practically impossible to get out of salmonid ink if you run out. And this comes with experience, but try to keep in mind what certain weapons are good or bad at. For example, the Sloher does well against bosses, but it struggles a lot when faced with lesser salmonids because of its low mobility. Or the Brella can paint really well and deal with hordes of lessers, but it has a harder time dealing with bosses because of its damage. Also, use your specials. Whenever you feel like you're overwhelmed, or if you had no issues in the first two waves, then you can use both on wave 3 just to kill more bosses and collect more eggs. I sometimes forgot to use my specials myself, and it often led to really dumb and really avoidable losses. So just use your specials whenever you feel the need to. So the most important things to remember are luring, ink management, and using specials. As I said, learning the weapons will come with experience, but it's good to at least think about their strengths and weaknesses. Anyway, this was my first time trying out this kind of format, so it might be a little messy, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Let me know in the comments if you like this kind of content and if there's anything I could change or improve on. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out, and I hope you had a fantastic day. Bye.